Mike, check, Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thanking everybody rocking with the channel. Thanking everybody subscribe through the channel. Share the video, share the link. It's priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you hit the Cash App that's right up there, or you can hit the link in the description. That's the best way to support this channel. If you guys are rocking with what we're doing over here, consider becoming a member. Now, big update. I don't want to say it's as big of an update as the last time we covered this, which was earlier today. But one of the biggest stories this year, again, is Kendrick Lamar's verse on Clipse's upcoming album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. The track, Chains and Whips. Now, the reason this is such a big story, again, is because Pusha T did an interview with GQ talking about this project and made the assertion that Def Jam dropped Clipse and Pusha T, dropped them because they were a little scared of Kendrick Lamar's verse. And he framed it as because of the optics of two people who defeated Drake in a battle being on the same track together. Now, that's how Pusha T initially framed it. The following day, Pusha T and Clipse's manager, Stephen Victor, he has Victor as his imprint. And it's been at UMG for a long time. He did an interview with Billboard, which we covered here on this channel. Check it out if you missed it. And he said that it was actually UMG's lyric department, not Def Jam, that was behind the apprehension to put this track out. Now, I've covered this ad nauseum, and you guys have heard me describe this as, I don't think that's really it. I don't think that's really it. Because to me, the idea that Universal would, throughout the entire battle that's gone on, all the diss tracks that went back and forth, including things like Watch the Party Die, including the Pop Out, including the Super Bowl, including the Grammys where we have Lucian Grange and Dr. Dre high-fiving, including this record-breaking stadium tour Kendrick Lamar is currently on with SZA, where there's a deposition, a deposition interlude as part of this. To me, it just sounds a little funny that UMG would cut the line, would draw the line at Pusha T and Kendrick being on a track together. But I mean, to me, it just seems like there had to be more going on. Now, as we talked about this, again, it was the lyrics department. But now we have another look at potentially what it was about that verse that made UMG so apprehensive. Now, Clipse did an interview with a podcast called the Popcast, I believe was what it's called. And they're talking about Kendrick's verse on Chains and Whips. Now, listen to what Pusha T says here.
Keep it moving. You put out Story of Adidon on SoundCloud instead of commercially. The Pop Smoke
that
verse
happened.
Removed.
The verses get removed. A couple verses get removed. I move on.
Right.
I just move on.
So he's recapping his history with Def Jam over the past few years. One of the things that stood out in that GQ conversation was Pusha T talked about how there had been previous incidences with UMG where they sort of slowed the progress on certain songs or certain albums, asked them to change songs, asked them to remove songs. The understanding, the way he describes it, at least in the GQ interview, was that this was because of Drake. Now, Story of Adidon, that battle with Drake and Pusha T is legendary. 1 second applause. But since then, he said he felt a change in sort of the temperature in the relationship with UMG. So that's what they're talking about right now.
On musically.
Right.
You know?
So then fast forward to 2024.
Fast forward, yeah.
Drake and Kendrick do their thing.
Boom.
Drake files a lawsuit.
Boom.
You play them your new song with a Kendrick verse on it.
Boom.
How do they react?
Now, mind you, the energy up to that point is everybody's clamoring, oh, new album's coming, so on and so forth. Excitement.
Of course. I mean, who wouldn't be excited for a new Clipse album? 1 second applause.
Everybody's ready. Listen, we 10 songs, 11 songs, 12 songs away. I mean, you know, close. We show up with the Kendrick verse, and everything's halted. It's halted. It's said that it will not be put out. They just didn't want to put it out. They would not speak via email.
They didn't want the label, right?
Yeah, the label would not send emails.
Nothing. Wouldn't send emails. Now, that makes sense. That makes sense, particularly broadly speaking. You know, they're in litigation now. I'm very interested in the timing of when this track was presented. In my mind, it was probably made a couple of weeks after during election season, which we talked about yesterday. But from the legal filings that we've covered, July 24th was a significant date because July 24th was the date in the legal filings that Drake's legal team said they first reached out to UMG to talk about how they felt about the song, how they felt as though Not Like Us was bringing violence to his house, etc. Right? So that it starts on July 24th per their legal documents. And I think within a month later is when we get Drake posting, we're winning game 2, game 6 or game 2, whatever he posted, saying we're going into another level of the battle. Now, at that point in time, people thought he was going to drop some more songs or something. Turns out he dropped a lawsuit.
I'm going to...
Shout out to Jason Martin.
Nothing in writing.
Nothing in writing to my management. They would call my management, 10 times in a row, trying to get all of this, trying to, just plead their case. Mm-hmm. Now, there was nothing even to be, they didn't like the optic. In my opinion, they didn't like the optic.
In his opinion, now that is a very crucial line right there that Pusha T just said. He said, in my opinion, they didn't like the optics. In my opinion. Right now, he's stepping back a little bit. He's turned that down a little bit since the GQ conversation. Because initially, in the GQ conversation, he was certain. He said it was Def Jam, and they did this because of Drake. That's what he said. Next day, we get the Stephen Victor conversation. And then there was some tweets back and forth. I know Andrew Barber was talking about how shout out to Andrew Barber from Fake Short Drive. Awesome guy, awesome platform. Really loves hip hop. 1 second applause. And Andrew Barber was talking about how I think he was making reference to him being aware of some of the challenges that Pusha T and Clipse were facing following story of Adidon. Well, Pusha T rather, because this is a Clipse return right now. And Pusha T responded to that, said, hey, Andrew Barber, Andrew knows I tell no lies, right? So he was very vigilant initially that it was because of Drake and it was Def Jam and they didn't like the fact that the optics were crazy. They didn't like what Kendrick said in the verse because Kendrick's talking about Drake, right? It's softened a little bit. If you listen to him again right here, he says, in his opinion, that's a very different thing.
Plead their case. Mm-hmm. Now, there was nothing even to be, they didn't like the optic. In my opinion, they didn't like the optics
of 2 Drake foes teaming up.
Right.
Yeah. Is there a line they pinpointed?
Censor? They pinpointed a line where the phrase trump card was used.
The phrase trump card was used. This is significant. Now, this is my understanding of the song too, to be honest. You guys know, I say a number of times, I'll talk about things and not necessarily be on the nose immediately about what I'm talking about. And usually that's just because I don't think it's that much fun to spoil the reaction to different songs or verses or certain stories or certain projects that are coming or certain collaborations. I actually think the most entertaining part of it is watching the community, the culture react to big moments. And this is a big moment. But my understanding too was that this had more to do with the Trump card reference and not the Drake stuff. The Trump card reference. And let's put this in context, right? He said Trump card. Now, I don't know what the metaphor is exactly. My understanding, it's like kill shot Trump card, but it's not talking junk about Trump. It's a metaphor, right? And I'm gonna point out in the lyrics at the end of this video after we get through this clip here, why I think it actually works. But put yourself in the position of a multinational company. You have an election going on. You've got Trump coming back to office. Trump's running against a woman. Trump only beats women. He only beats women in an election. We've never seen Trump beat a man, right? So odds are Trump was going to win that election regardless of how well any woman on the blue team would have ran their campaign. But Trump is a very suey president. Trump is sending Secret Service agents to people on Twitter's house who say things about him. Trump is constantly holding the media, taking aim at different media outlets. He has completely changed the White House the media room, who has access to the White House. He removed a bunch of different publications, adding new publications. He is someone who's not afraid to go at any industry. We're going through all the results or the impact of the tariffs that he's put on. He is someone that takes offense to things. And that entire media vertical over there, the right-wing media, makes it they take moments like this and blow them way out of proportion. We've seen Fox News do this over the years with Lupe Fiasco or Cameron or Ludacris. Part of the culture wars is taking moments like this, right? And so here is Universal putting this out. They don't want the smoke. It's not worth it to them. In my mind, I can see that. At the same time, with this lawsuit between Universal and Drake, both those sides, in my opinion, if they're not, they should be. If they're not, they should be doing everything they can to get as much support as they can from the White House. And Trump is a big business, corporate, oligarch type president, but Drake has positioned himself with Happy Dad, cosigns, all the kick stuff, now with Morgan Wallen, Ilya Gross. He has positioned himself with Manosphere, right-wing content creators and conversations for a very long time now. Very long time now. And so I think both sides of them are reaching out to their White House connects to see what they can do, right? If UMG knew at this point in time that Drake might do this or possibly could do this, and you have an election in the balance, and the guy that is the cause of Drake's ire is on this song, not only throwing subs at Drake, but using a Trump metaphor in a way that can inflame right-wing media, I might hedge my bets too if I'm Universal. I'll be honest. I think it's lame. I think it's really bad for Def Jam. I think it's terrible that people think Def Jam made this call. Def Jam would never do this. This is a UMG call. This is a UMG call. I can see hedging bets over that, if not the combination of that. You take the Trump thing out, I don't think UMG makes the same call. I just don't. I don't think that UMG cared that much, right? Especially since after this, all of the promo they put into the Grammys, all of the promo they put into the Super Bowl, this entire tour, all these legal documents kept getting updated with new things. I don't think that that Kendrick and Pusha T is as an additional line item to that lawsuit is a big deal considering, oh yeah, at the Grammys, oh yeah, at the Super Bowl, oh yeah, on tour right now, he's making fun of our deposition. I just don't see it. I think this is what it really is, and this is what my understanding has been, my understanding around this entire thing. This is why I've been saying, I think there's more going on here. And honestly, I think it actually makes sense, especially in this political climate, especially with this particular president.
Those teaming up.
Right.
Yeah. Did there a line they pinpointed?
You
to
know,
censor?
they pinpointed a line where the phrase Trump card was used. Mm-hmm. Right? And so stupid. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like the phrase Trump card was used, and they said that they didn't want any problem with Trump or something like that as well.
Unrelated to...
Yeah, unrelated.
Totally
even unrelated. Yeah, totally unrelated.
Just a Trump...
Yeah.
A Trump,
yeah.
So you felt like they were looking for something?
Of course. They were looking for...
To halt the optics.
1,000%. That's...
Now, perhaps, but I don't think that's the thing. Honestly, I really do think if I'm UMG, I'm more concerned in the grand scheme about the Trump card reference than I am about Kendrick and Pusha T bringing us more money. I personally I am way more concerned about that than I am about anything that is less than what's already happened.
That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And how did you guys take that? They said either censor this verse.
Wait, did you guys see that shot right quick? Look at this shot.
1,000%. That's.
I feel like Malice is legit just riding shotgun. He's the whole time. Not necessarily from an artistic standpoint. His verses have been fire. But in these conversations, Pusha T's going at Travis Scott. Pusha T's talking about Drake and UMG, this whole thing, this Def Jam thing. And Malice is like, let God sort him out. 1 second applause.
That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
And how did you guys take that? They said either censor this verse, take him off, or what?
Well, we ignored it because it was so crazy to us. We like, nah, this can't be real. This can't be real. So we ignored it. And then one day, I believe it was Steve Gawley made the call.
A lawyer
at UMG, and was like, hey, look, I'm not stupid, guys. You guys aren't stupid. You guys aren't, changing anything. We'll drop the clips. Pusha has to stay. And
as a solo
we'll just
artist.
we'll just have to move on. But that doesn't work.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't work. Ultimately, we were like, yo, what's the way to do the business? Like, how can we buy ourselves off of this label?
Right. And Steven Victor, your manager, gave an interview with Billboard. He said there was essentially a 7-figure payment to free you guys from your contract.
Yeah.
They're going to take a little bit of profit off of this new album.
Yep.
So here we are 20 years later, and you're still in the
label
thick of
drama.
It with label drama.
Still label drama, and that's so at the core of the Clipse story. They went on an incredible mixtape run. We Got It for Cheap mixtape series, I think is what it was called, if I'm not mistaken. I know I love that song on Hell Hath No Fury. But incredible mixtape run because they were in label limbo in the mid-2000s, just like most artists were. I mean, this is when you had massive consolidation in the music industry space. You went from 8 or 9 labels to basically the big 3 situation that we have now. And a number of artists. I mean, go look at the first XXL Freshman cover with Lupe Fiasco, Crooked Eye, Saigon, Gorilla Zoe, a bunch of people. Go look at Papoose. Go look at the number of lyricists on that list who got shelved. That was just the motto, the mantra of the 2000s at that point in time. And here they come back. Great point, too. Here they come back for their reunion album, and they're still in the middle of label drama. But they're free now. They're on Rock Nation. They have a situation they seem to like. They're all over the news. 1 second applause. A lot of press, a lot of promo around this project, and it sounds great so far. Now, they said the line had something to do with Trump card. Trump card, right? And I was thinking about this yesterday when I was making the video. I guess that was today. Actually, technically it was today. Today when I was making the video, going through the lyrics of the snippet that came out. And one of the points I made in these lyrics was the number of different electoral government sort of bars that showed up in here, right? The first one is, I'm not the candidate to vibe with, right? That's how it starts off, right? Now, with a Trump card bar in what we might have, essentially what we haven't heard yet so far, with a Trump card bar in mind, that actually elevates the entire verse, right? There's a number of different entendres, allusions that are running at the same time, right? We talked about the Genesis, Genevieve, all that kind of stuff. Gen Z, how we focus on that. But there are some political things happening here too now, right? I'm not the candidate to vibe with, right? That's how it starts off. That one, again, puts the time frame of when this track was created in mind immediately. Now, I'm of the understanding that when the Trump card line was, or when UMG heard this song, it was a few weeks after Trump got shot, right? After what looked like an assassination attempt happened on Trump on the campaign trail. It was a few weeks after that. That's the understanding that I have, right? With that in mind, that's another reason why I think UMG really didn't want that. You have a potential presidential candidate, and he is running for office and giving a campaign speech and is targeted. Okay. I don't think you want that out. That's another reason why I see where UMG is coming from, why I think it's more about that line than it is about the Drake stuff that's in this verse, right? But that's the first one that comes out. I'm not the candidate to vibe with, right? Then over here, he says, heavy jeans like Genevieve's, I drop your Pentagon, right? So Genevieve, I can't think of the last name, but Genevieve is the person, or the author of the Pentagon Papers, right? The historic exposure of government impropriety that took place in the 70s, maybe 80s or 70s, 80s, can't remember. Right, so that's another one. So you got the Pentagon here, right? Now you add in this Trump card thing, so that's 3, right? And this line right here, I think I might be reaching, but I look at this next line, this next line to me also feels very Trumpy. It also feels very Trumpy, where he says the 2-time Gemini with the genocide. Right. Now, that is a crazy entendre to me. Perhaps he's talking about Trump. Maybe I'm reaching. Look, Trump hadn't been elected yet when this song was created, but I think a lot of people figure that America would do the same thing twice. So you got a two-time Gemini. He's a two-time president. Two-time president. He's also a Gemini. Trump just celebrated his birthday. He is a Gemini as well. The two-time Gemini with the genocide. And, now we have everything that's going on in Gaza. Now, to be fair, that started before Trump. Don't get me wrong. But Trump isn't stopping it. It fits at the same time. It fits in the same way. So that's 3-4 different sort of political government references in this verse, which to me elevates the whole verse. Elevates the whole verse of what's going on in this track right now. I can't wait to hear the full thing. But every time I see this line and people post this on Twitter or whenever I've listened to that clip, the two-time Gemini with the genocide, my mind goes straight to the White House. Straight to the White House. So there's a few references in here of that ilk. Can't wait to hear the rest of this. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. And let me know if you think that Trump line is enough for UMG to hold their horses, given everything. Or if you guys still think that it's really the Drake stuff that's in here that was where they drew the line. And if so, apparently that's the only line UMG drew. The only line they drew was, you and Pusha T, that's too much. Super Bowl, fine. Dr. Dre, Lucy and Grange, all good. On tour, with the skits, that's cool. Grammy Awards, all that stuff, fine. We'll promote everything. But you and Pusha T? Matter of fact, get Clipse out of here. Let me know what you think about all of this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like and subscribe to the channel for The Company Man on everything, including the Company Man podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.